Any week can change your life forever. So just thankful the win came this week. Jhonattan Vegas back in the winner's circle along with Jonathan Rahm. We got a double Johns. KJ Choi winning the U.S. No, not the U.S. The Senior Open Championship. We're going to talk about some Olympic sports that we're into before we get into our full Olympic golf preview this coming Wednesday. Also, we have another edition of Mulligan of the Week. All right, let's tee it up. We've got a John on John weekend. I looked at John Riskin. I said, what the fuck did you do this weekend? Because every other John in the world was just winning golf tournaments. He was on vacation, so just a pretty big dub. It's Big Drive Energy here for a Monday Winner's Circle edition. Before we get to golf talk, we have to chop it up a little bit. This is when we get to chat with each other live on camera. People watch it. A few people watch it. What's up, brother? How's your weekend at the beach?
It was good, man. I ended up getting back just in time to catch the end of the 3M. Just very exhilarating stuff. But other than that, the weekend was great. Went to the beach, hung out. Have you ever? So I don't know if you've tried these drinks, but the Surfside drinks. You tried them when you were out here, didn't you?
Bro, you brought them to my house. I have in my fridge. You let me try all of them.
Yeah, dude.
You
I
had
don't
too many
remember.
Surfsides, and you couldn't remember that you gave them to me.
I don't remember what I've brought to your house, what I haven't, but those things are just the easiest things in the world to drink on the beach.
Right
Like,
behind Coors Light for sure.
well, I'm just saying on the beach because they're not carbonated, so they are like iced tea. So I'm going non-carbonated beverages. Of course, if I'm picking a carbonated beverage, it's a Coors Light. Um, but I think I had like 7 of those on the beach on Saturday, and like I legit drink them like water. I think I had 7 in like 3 hours. Missy's like, "How many of those have you had?" I'm like, "Don't fucking worry about me. Just mind your own fuckhole over there." Worry
Keep your
about how
eyes on
many
your own
drinks.
Surfside, goddammit.
Yeah, exactly. But I mowed through quite a few of those on Saturday, and then Sunday we got a few hours, and then drove in. Dude, the beach traffic on a Sunday afternoon it's basically the equivalent of like trying to come out of the mountains on a Sunday afternoon, like leave the ski slopes. It's an hour drive that takes 2 hours because it's just fucking people everywhere. And I think you saw a little glimpse of it. People drive completely unhinged out here in New Jersey. It's a fucking free for all. It's every man for themselves. So that was a good time. But other than that, not too much going on. I've been teaching quite a bit, which has been great. And yeah, I'm just counting down the Sundays until football. We've got a couple more weeks of the PGA Tour before the playoffs, or only one, I guess. We've got the Olympics. Do you know what's actually funny? I didn't realize the PGA Tour wasn't playing the week of the Olympics. Like
Yeah.
it makes sense, but also there's only 4 guys. Like there's 200 dudes that could be playing in a PGA Tour event this week.
Well, and there's only 4 Americans. There's a bunch of other guys that could be playing on the PGA Tour. And I mean, realistically, it's 3 Americans that actually factor into PGA Tour events at this point. And one of them's just fucking out of control dragon in the dragon meme, missing cuts and not even being a factor. We'll get into that all on Wednesday, talking about the Olympics and who we think is going to be the gold medal finalist, because after what he did in the last Olympics and the hot streak he's on this year, winning big tournaments, Xander Schauffele, I think, has to be the favorite. I don't know. We'll have to take a look at the Bet365 odds for sure and see where that ends up. But Scotty Scheffler is just like the betting favorite of everything. But the Olympics is kind of an interesting competition because it's not your normal everyday golf tournament. It's a different course. It's, just like the Open Championship brings in all of these kind of specialists, if you will. Like, I don't know how to describe it, but like Scotty Scheffler is the best golfer in the world right now, and that's pretty hands down a fact. But events like this, where somebody may have a little bit more experience at LIV Golf National, or somebody has a little bit more experience playing over across the pond than Scotty Scheffler, like Scotty Scheffler could be too busy with Bennett going to the Louvre this week, like the just distractions and other things here and there that I think will make the Olympic golf a little more exciting than just a normal, because there's players that you've never even heard of that are competing for their country. And I believe Tommy Fleetwood even said it's more important to him to compete like for his country. And this is what real golf's about than a lot of the PGA Tour events that he never wins.
Well, I was going to say that's clear that Tommy Fleetwood cares more about competing for his country because he never wins when he's just competing for himself. But yes, I honestly think that Scheffler will be the favorite. I don't think that's necessarily a hot take, but I just kind of thought about this. Wouldn't it be cool to see a little like budding Xander and Scotty rivalry? Like if they start button heads going at it majors, and then, I just wish there was still that Brooks and that Bryson element and that Jon Rahm element. Because I think now on the PGA Tour, just PGA Tour itself, not including the LIV, it's pretty clear cut. There's two very good players at the top, and then there's kind of everybody else right now. So yeah, that there definitely leaves something to be desired there. But do you know what I just realized? I don't think Xander's not married and he doesn't have any kids. I don't think.
Yeah,
Or is he married?
I don't know. Let's take a peek behind the internet curtain.
Because I actually listened to an interview with him, and the dude, he didn't, obviously, we talked about the Open already. He did not seem excited at all.
Oh yeah,
and
he's married. Married since college.
Oh shit. Okay, it just did
Maya.
not seem like. What's her
name is
name?
Maya.
Okay.
They got married in Las Vegas a week after the 2021 U.S. Open.
You said he's been married since college. He didn't go to college.
No, they've known each other since college. Open your ears. Turn your hearing aids up.
You said they got married in college, dipshit.
No, I did not. All right, let's not give away our whole Olympic preview. Oh, one last thing on that. Are you practicing your French accent? Because we need a weather report into the French accent for Wednesday. So you better fucking get in the mirror, talk yourself up, work it up, because you're gonna do it.
I'm gonna be like that meme where you're that drunk guy and you see yourself in the mirror at the bar, and you're like, fucking get this shit right. Oh, also Greg Gomez, Wyndham is a dud, not wrong. But Greg, our good buddy Greg Gomez, is going to be hopping on with us Friday afternoon. He'll be out at LIV Golf National in France, so he is going to give us a little boots on the ground preview, and I think that's going to be pretty cool.
I hope he's really drunk. Greg, get as drunk as you can before you hop on this eCam and give us this halfway home episode of the Olympics, because it's going to be electric.
I want him to be as drunk as he was at your bachelor party, because that would just be, he'll be firing off hot takes. All of a sudden he'll start talking about the Dallas Cowboys and fucking,
and maybe our last episode ever, if that happens. But no, speaking of the Olympics, we want to talk about some of our favorite Olympic sports going into the, golf is going to be obviously an electric watch, but what else have you been watching these last couple of days? What's caught your eye? I watched equestrian showing for like 3 hours yesterday. It was a real dead period on TV.
Isn't it called dressage?
That was part of it.
Okay.
Dressing, dressage. Pretty interesting.
Well, so I do have to say I haven't watched much of it yet because it's just so scattered, and I guess I got to hop on Peacock. I got to get on the cock and see what they have to offer, because is it Chris Hansen? Scott Hansen. Chris Hansen is Dateline guy. Scott Hansen is hosting what is it called? Like the golden ticket or something. I think it's called the golden ticket, where it's like a Sunday ticket style Olympic thing where he's announcing all these different events at one time. So I do think I need to hop in on that simply to get his voice. He actually just tweeted a little bit ago that he was banging on the table so hard while he was calling it that he injured himself. So I fucking love the passion out of that guy. He just doesn't piss and just starts banging on the table when the US is competing for their country. I will say, I mean, you obviously have your basketball, you have your typical sports, but other than that, I really do enjoy volleyball. Although
Huh.
it's not what it used to be. The sand volleyball, not what it used to be. They've changed that up a little bit.
It's not Misty May and Carrie Walsh. That's what you
Oh
grew up
fuck,
on.
dude. Yeah, that was appointment television as a teenager. You're like, holy shit, these chicks rock at volleyball and those shorts. Wow. But yeah, it's definitely a little different now. But did you see the stadium that they have for the sand volleyball?
Yeah, it's incredible. It's like right in front of the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah. Did I call it? Oh, the gold zone, the gold ticket. I'm such a dipshit. This is like fucking Willy Wonka. Gold zone. Okay, that's what it is, not red zone. Oh my god, I'm such a fucking idiot. Okay. Anywho, yeah, and I also called it sand volleyball, not beach volleyball. So, I mean, technically, it is not on a volleyball, or it is not on a beach. It is a volleyball, not on a beach.
Did you take your meds today?
I need some meds. I'm not on any currently, so fucking I need an Adderall or a Xanax or God knows what I need. I need a combination. I need a cocktail of drugs. Did you hear also in current events on the Olympics about the river, the whole situation with the river?
No, I did not.
So it was raining during that opening ceremony. Apparently, they spent $1.5 billion cleaning out that river that they had, the boats on. I forget what the river's called. The Cease River, something like that. So they spent like close to $2 billion cleaning out this river, which is fucking, I'm short circuiting. It's absolutely insane. And so then it rained during the opening ceremony and it washed a bunch of literal shit back into the river. So all these events they were going to do in that river, they have postponed and they may end up canceling. Like, I think the triathlon, you have to swim. They were going to swim in the river, but now there's like a risk of E. coli. So they can no longer swim in the river because they don't want to get E. coli, which obviously not a good thing. And then there's a few other events that they were going to do in the river that they can't. So that's absolutely hilarious. I mean, if we're being real honest, it just seems like hosting the Olympics for any city is just one giant nightmare.
Yeah, it seems like a logistical nightmare having all of the different. I was watching surfing yesterday, but that's also like not in. It's some random different place. It's not like in France.
Well, it's not in the actual country of France. Like, they do have coastline in France.
Yeah, I know. I literally think it's in like North Korea or something. That's not correct, but it's definitely.
I don't know if you surf in North Korea.
No, it's insane. It's somewhere else. That's all I know.
Let me Google this.
It's in Tahiti.
It's in where?
Tahiti.
Tahiti. See?
Oh, okay.
Tahiti's
That's so
France,
far
as far as I know.
But I did see one of the surfers posted like their setup for the week because they don't stay obviously in the Olympic Village because they're in Tahiti, not France. Holy shit, yeah, Tahiti's like out in the middle of the ocean nowhere. Holy shit. That is legit like halfway around the world from France. That is bananas. Did you know where Tahiti was, Spencer?
I have no idea.
It's in Polynesia. It's closest to like Fiji and New Zealand. It's like very close to Fiji.
Okay.
So it's fucking I didn't even know that there was ocean right there. If I'm being honest, that is insane.
Well, isn't most of the world ocean, to be honest?
I think 70% of it is. Now I'm seeing this area west of South America is just fucking massive ocean. This whole like globe on the phone is really handy because I've I've never seen this much ocean before. Like if you're watching on the YouTube, look at that. That's all ocean.
Yeah.
Holy Christ.
That's a lot of ocean. All right. Real quick, I'm about to jump in an ocean of my own with this Lucy breaker. So I'm really excited because my Lucy order is coming this afternoon with my new flavors in all different types, shapes, and sizes. Lucy is our new favorite nicotine. We use it all the time. It comes in 4 milligrams, 8 milligrams, 12 milligram pouches. You've got gum. You've got the breakers right here. Lucy Apple Ice Breaker keeps my breast keeps my breath fresh throughout the day. It feels like I have a little mint in when I've got one of these breakers in. Lucy is 100% pure nicotine all the time. Like I said, it's our new favorite nicotine. Lasts longer than any product we've ever used. It's tobacco-free, available in pouches, gum, and breakers. My favorite flavor right now, as of today, as of recording this podcast, is Apple Ice. But these berry citrus breakers that I got coming in the mail tonight is about to change my life. I'm sure it's about to blow my socks absolutely off my body. They get, like I said, they get shipped to me. They can get shipped right to you. You save 15% when you get a subscription to Lucy, and you're going to save 20% by using our code BDE. So level up your nicotine routine with Lucy. Go to lucy.co/BDE. Use promo code BDE to get 20% off of your first order. Lucy offers free shipping and has a 30-day refund policy if you change your mind. That's lucy.co. Use code BDE to get 20% off, and as always, free shipping. Here comes the fine print. Lucy products are only for adults of legal age, and every order is age verified. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. Also want to tell you about our friends over at Bet365. Use the code ALLCITY when you sign up, and you get to choose between two different offers of a first bet safety net of $1,000 or betting $5 to get $150 when you sign up with that code ALLCITY. We do all of our golf betting and Olympic betting. Have you bet on any of the other Olympic sports? Because I've been kind of dabbling. I bet on Serbia to beat the United States in basketball. It was like a live bet. It was when King Yoke was going off, and I bet them plus 1,400. Obviously didn't hit, but that's because they couldn't keep Jokic in the game the entire time. But if you want to do some Olympic betting, you want to do some golf betting with us every single week on Big Bet Energy, make sure to do that through Bet365. Like I said, you get two different offers when you sign up. If you're betting $5 and getting 115 bonus bets, those bonus bets are great to use each week. We had an 80-1 winner on the PGA Tour this week in Jhonattan Vegas. And so that you can turn 1 unit or $1, whatever you want to use with those bonus bets, into 80. And then you just get to ride that all year. So use the Bet365 app. Bet on the each ways in golf. You double your bet, and then it splits it into one wager on that player winning and one wager on that player getting top 12. We luckily snuck in, thank God, for a 72nd hole meltdown by, do you remember who it was? I forget who the guy was, but a 72nd hole meltdown allowed Sam Burns to sneak into the top 12 and me to get my unit back. And luckily, I got my unit back on that bet. And then, of course, Mitchell's pick, Sahith Theegala, ended up finishing well inside the top 10. So he hit that, and we got some of our bet back. But use that code ALLCITY at sign up, and you're getting to choose between those two different offers. Must be 21 plus, physically located in Colorado. Please gamble responsibly. If you're someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. All right. So let's talk a little bit about, do you have any more Olympic wrap-up? Just give me a few rapid fire of the sports you like, because the surfing was lame for me. The horse stuff was kind of cool. The archery's wild. The shooting is wild. Just all these different countries that have these athletes that you're like, I wonder what, I wish they would say what they do in real life and then their Olympic sport, like when they're lining up for, shooting, it'd be like, all right, this is Eric. He's from Tanzania. He's their number one. He's the number one shooter. And he's also an accountant Monday through Friday. That'd be electric addition to the broadcast.
Dude, I honestly think, I don't know if you understand this, but when you're an Olympic athlete, you get paid to train for the Olympics. Did you know that?
I was 7 seconds ago when I knew that.
I was today years old when I found that out. That, yeah, and I think it depends on the country and how invested like your country is. And if I'm being real honest, I have no fucking idea. I just can't imagine that, you know, like a week before the Olympics, they're like, okay, everybody meet at this place. We're going to take a plane over to France, and you know, we'll do a few practice warm up sessions, and then you just go out there and do it. Like, I think they train for years and years at whatever fucking event that they're doing or events that they're doing in order to you know, try to go out there and win. I will say gymnastics is always fire. That's always a really good one, because the U.S. women are just dominant at that also, which is great. Obviously golf. Golf is, I'm going to be dialed in on the golf, and especially because it's a course that we have seen before. You know, it's not just some random course that was built for this Olympics. So that'll be cool as well. And honestly, I'm not that into swimming. Swimming just really doesn't do it for me. Everybody, they look all the exact same. One is just a little bit faster than the other one. They're just doing the same shit. But I guess that's kind of any sport, right? But there's just not a whole lot of nuance to swimming. You kind of all just do the same thing. I don't know, man. That's kind of the Olympics to me.
Water polo is way more physical than I thought it was. Like, it's insane the stuff these guys, like the guys and gals, do underneath the water to each other. Borderline fucking in like some sort of
like
issue.
Like you die. Like the average person would drown. I will say also I watched a little women's rugby, and the U.S. has this lady that just fucking pile drives people.
Yeah, she seeks contact. She's like Derrick Henry.
Yes. I heard Vic Lombardi and Mark Mosier talking about that earlier today. But she definitely like seeks contact. She runs through the tackles. She's the perfect bell cow back because she just can fucking hammer anybody.
Ilona
100-meter, yes.
Ilona Maher.
Okay,
Just
yes.
completely trucking.
Very impressive. Yes. I and then there was another girl I saw on, who was it that, or was it the USA? Because New
Zealand has a chick that just likes to truck folks as well, seeks out that contact.
And New Zealand, I think, is just very good at rugby anyway. Like, that's one of their specialties. Yes, Greg just commented the 100-meter running is pretty electric because those people are just like built different. Also, men's volleyball. You remember Chase Budinger?
Yeah, that story is insane. It's like Division I basketball athlete. He's like Chris Marlowe reincarnate.
Yeah, I remember. I think he was on Ryan Grasillo's podcast, and I listened to an episode with him, and it's just crazy to hear his story of like, and realistically, so this is another hypothetical. How many NBA players do you think could just go play Olympic volleyball? Because that height with that jump, like you need to have soft hands. You need to be able to like hit, spike, whatever. But if you have that much of an advantage, and say you just had like a 6'10" dude playing volleyball and just absolutely hammering it in other dudes' faces, what are they going to do about that? Like, that is an inherent advantage.
Oh yeah, 100%. But you have to have a lot more skill, I guess. I haven't played like serious competitive volleyball, but I know if they could just be like the hitters and the blockers, or the spikers and the blockers, whatever that position's called, like I feel like that's an advantage. But if they actually have to make, they have to dig the ball out, there's a great volleyball term for you. If they have to dig, I don't know, it's not necessarily like they have to be really good at it or do it for a long time. Apparently he lost to Aaron Gordon in the dunk contest, and he was the Gatorade National Player of the Year in volleyball. Greg, you're helping us out on a Monday, also going to be helping us out on a Friday afternoon. Let's talk real quick about Johnny Vegas, just because it was an insane win for him this past week at the 3M in Minnesota, and he hasn't won in 7 years. So I went back to look at some of the stuff from 7 years ago, and I want you to guess what the number one song was 7 years ago when Johnny Vegas won the RBC Canadian Open, which crazy enough, he won back-to-back RBC Canadian Opens. And not only that, but he beat, in the first one he won in 2016, he beat Dustin Johnson, Martin Laird, and Jon Rahm by a shot. And then in the one he won in 2017, he won in a playoff against good old Charlie Hoffman in one of his 5,000 PGA Tour starts.
Yeah. Okay. I think I'm back now. My microphone just nonstop having problems. It's standard. I honestly didn't realize that Jon Rahm was it. I guess that's dating us a little bit. Like Jon Rahm's been out there that long. That was 8 years ago. He was in a playoff at the Canadian Open. But yes, I do remember. Honestly, I remember Johnny Vegas' start to his career and how electric that was. Like I loved watching him when we were, I think 2010, 2011.
I was gonna ask you, when did he make his PGA Tour debut?
I'll say 2010.
2008. So we were right 15 and 14 years old, or 15 and 14 years old.
Wow. Yeah, so he's been around the block for a while. But he's just one of those dudes that creates that effortless power. Like, did you see his tee shot on 18 yesterday? It looked just like he was smoothing it out there, trying to hit a little fairway finder, and he had 184 ball speed on it. So he's just built like a linebacker. He's built to hit the ball far, hit it well. And yeah, I love watching the dude play. He just seems like a genuinely really nice guy and an easy guy to root for. And I'm just glad he got back in the winner's circle. He's one of those names it's a little bit of a throwback. You're like, are we in 2017, 2018? Like, feels like a different year when he wins.
Yeah, and he won back-to-back years, the same like the RBC Canadian Open. So he was kind of the owner of that tournament for a couple of years. All right, 2017, July 30th. What was the number one song in the world at that point? I'll give you a hint. Justin Bieber's a part of it.
Is it DJ Khaled?
No.
I'm the One? No?
Oh, maybe I'm completely wrong. Well, now we're having maybe Justin Bieber wasn't part of it at all. It sounds like it was, so it was Despacito is the song. Maybe Justin Bieber's like remade it, but it's crazy to think that Despacito was 8 years ago. Or 7 years ago. That kind of freaks me out because that song still slaps. Like, if you've had a few drinks in the club and you hear Despacito come on, like, I'll still get my salsa feet going to that for sure. My shuffling feet.
I was gonna say that's when you bust out the Victor Cruz, get the little hips going.
Yeah, what is that called? The salsa, right?
Yeah, the salsa. The hips don't lie. Yeah, I don't. I can't comprehend that was 7 years ago. Like that seems like it was 2 years ago. So they always say that time goes by quicker as you get older. So I guess that is happening to both of us simultaneously.
Well, that's actually factually correct because the older you are, the more years you've lived, meaning a day is a lot less time than it was when you were like 1.
I think I legitimately told you that. Like time actually goes by quicker because it's a smaller segment of your life relative to the rest of it.
Yeah, like a day for my son right now is like a lifetime. For a day for me is like, it's just another one of these fucking...
A day for him is like you successfully lived 3% longer than you did yesterday.
Yeah.
For us, it's like you've lived 0.0005% longer than you did the day before.
Yeah. And we talk about this a lot on this podcast, but it's just the true excitement and difference of professional golf than any other sport because other sports, you don't get as many chances. Now, golf it's tough to stay at the top for a long time and stay on the PGA Tour. It's not like you can just you can just show up and qualify for a PGA Tour event most Mondays. But being a guy that won twice, Johnny Vegas at the start of his career, you thought, all right, this guy's going to win 10, 15 times, fell off the map. And then like his quote I started this podcast with is, any week can change your life on the PGA Tour. So now he's going to play in a bunch of the signature events next year. He's going to be in the Open Championship. He's going to be the U.S. Open, just different events like that. So this week really did change his life, kind of rechange his life because he had the winning feeling back in 2016-17 when he won twice in the span of 2 years. And then you chase that and chase that and chase that dream for another 7 years. And you finally get back in the winner's circle at a, not a great field and not a great massive event at the 3M Open, with a lot of the players heading to the Olympics and kind of weeks in between, players getting ready for the playoff, etc. But winning after not winning for 7 years is still an impressive feat. One real other quick notes: Spider-Man: Homecoming and Despicable Me 3 were 1 and 2 at the box office in 2017 when Vegas won last time.
Wait, so didn't Despicable Me 4 just come out? Did it really come out 7 years after Despicable Me 3?
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what my research was telling me.
To drop that?
Yeah, just because, dude, so Despicable Me 1, 2010, 2, 2013, 3, 2017, and 4, 2024.
Holy shit. Now
I
feel
low-key love those movies, dude. I try to get Sawyer to watch them, and he's kind of into it. He's really into it when the minions are fucking like freaking out and going around and doing their thing. But Despicable Me is an electric set of movies. And
no, I agree with that. I'm not like all about all these animated movies, but those I will watch. Like, I wanted to go watch that in theaters because that shit just hits. And Gru, the voice is just so on point. And the minions are just always up to some sort of hijinks. So I can appreciate that.
Yes, you know what I also can appreciate, and I can appreciate always a nice, refreshing, cold Coors Light. Whether you're at the beach, whether you're grilling out, you're at a fire, you're having a fire, which we can't really have a ton of right now. There's a lot of fire bans going on because it's hotter than blazes in Colorado, and there's no rain in sight. But Coors Light is the beer that I always reach for when I need a moment to chill. Coors Light is my favorite beer, whether it's on the golf course. I had a couple of golf course Coors Lights the other day. I played on Saturday, and then yesterday I had a pool Coors Light. So I'm getting my different settings of Coors Light in there each weekend, I feel like. Last weekend I had the Fire Pit Coors Light. This weekend some golf Coors Lights, which that's not my first rodeo, golf course Coors Light, but the pool Coors Light was one of my first in a while because I don't go to the pool a ton. So when I do get to go to the pool, I had a nice cold Coors Light in there. Mountains were blue for a while. Then I had to just drink it fast because it was so hot that things were melting. I couldn't even like walk my feet on the fucking floor next to the pool. It was so hot, 100 degrees. But absolutely cooking with my Coors Light in the pool. When you need a moment to chill or you need to refresh, hit the reset button with Coors Light. Of course, Coors Light, you can always get Coors Light delivered straight to your door with Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/DNVR. When it's time to chill, Coors Light is the beer I reach for. So when you want to hit the reset, grab a beer that's made to chill. Coors Light delivered straight to your door with Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/DNVR. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Also want to tell you about our friends over at Shady Rays Sunglasses. So this is kind of funny, and this just shows you how good Shady Rays glasses are, what good frames they have. This is an embarrassing story. It was almost going to be my mulligan of the week, but we'll get onto it a little early. So I did half a workout on Saturday, went to the gym, got a workout in while my kid was sleeping, ran a few errands, filled up our storage unit with some more shit. But I did half my workout with my Shady Rays on top of my hat. So one of the biggest loser moves to have sunglasses on top of your hat. But spinning this into how good Shady Rays are, I did this whole like floor, when I say floor routine, it sounds like a gymnastics thing. It's not. Like I just use a mat, roll my old back out, roll my ass cheeks out, my knees, all that, stretch it out. But I had my Shady Rays on my hat and I didn't realize it the whole time. They never fell off. They were just snug right on top of my hat. And then I got over to the elliptical and I was just doing some elliptical, getting my heart rate up. And I peeked over at one of the like windows/mirrors. And I was like, oh my God, you have sunglasses on top of your head. I paused immediately, headed over to my locker, tossed those bad boys in there because as cool as Shady Rays are, I don't think anybody can work out in sunglasses and make that look cool unless they're Shady Rays. So exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving you their best deal of the season. Head to shadyrays.com. Use the code AC35 for 35% off polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. I rock them on the pod all the time. Shady Rays are the way to go. I've had so many people ask me like, hey, you like those Shady Rays? Because I see people wearing those like free shitters that people get given out, you know, like credit union or bank or whatever it is. And I actually had somebody ask me yesterday, hey, do you like your Shady Rays? I said, yep. Use code AC35, 35% off those premium polarized, baby.
You love to see it. Those things are so clutch.
Do you want to talk a little bit more about Johnny Vegas? You got anything else about that, or you want to go straight into other Jon Rahm winning his first LIV event?
Yes, I do. I just want to make sure that we touch on the U.S. Junior Amateur. Did you see that that Blades Brown got beat, and the winner was? I just want to touch on this for a second. His name is Trevor Gashewski. Trevor Gashewski. He beat Blades Brown in the round of 32, and then he was only the 33rd. I think he was ranked like the 300th ranked junior in the world.
350th.
Oh, okay.
350th ranked amateur in the world, or junior amateur.
Oh, okay. So I mean, just super impressive win. I wanted to give him a shout, and also Braden Forte, one of the kids that I actually worked with briefly, but he's Kelly McCandless's student. He played at the US. He qualified for the US Junior Am, so I wanted to give him a shout out. He's a Parker, Colorado kid, so I think that's pretty cool as well.
Yeah, and while we're on the Colorado kids, Colorado Open, the biggest state open in America, was this past weekend. Shout out to Davis Bryant, CSU Ram product, fresh off winning the Wyoming Open, which you've played in quite a few times. Heads down to the Colorado. You've played in the Colorado Open, right, or no?
I never qualified for it. I've missed out multiple times by one shot, so fuck
yeah.
that play. I honestly don't like Green Valley Ranch. If I'm honesty hour here, I'm not a huge Green Valley Ranch guy. Not to say that I wouldn't want to play in it, but
totally understand that. But shout out to Davis Bryant, Eagle Crest High School product, pretty close to where we went to high school. And then, like I said, CSU goes and wins the Wyoming Open, and then wins $100,000 check up at the Colorado Open. Jim Canals shot a 61. So there was some low scores out there. I'd be curious to go to the Colorado Open and just see how Michael Block was there. Did you see that? Your favorite? I'm surprised you weren't flying out to follow him.
Fuck that guy. I wish he would shoot 90 2 days in a row and miss the cut, but I think he finished like 40th or something. So if he hit it as long as Rory, he would have boat raced everyone, though. That's for sure.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, he just ran through the Colorado Open.
Wouldn't have been a question. Speaking of Rory, this is not really winner circle shit, but did you see he was just out like playing the old course by himself or with like a group of friends?
Yeah.
Like
he's just in the Olympics, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So he's just Ireland. Maybe it was a couple days old and he's headed over to Le Golf National this week so he can finish T12 with a really, really impressive Sunday showing.
He can backdoor top 10 on a Sunday 65. I just can't speak today, apparently. So
no, this is going to be a question that we'll talk about Wednesday, but I'm honestly asking before I've done an extensive amount of research on the Olympic golfs. Is it just like exactly like a PGA Tour or, you know, major event where it's 4 rounds, stroke play? Like, no, there's no funny business going on.
Correct. Yeah, it's just all individual. It's no live event out here. There's no team payouts. There's no we. There's just an I in the Olympics. So
yeah, but I just wanted to make sure it was 4 rounds. Like it's four full rounds of golf, no cut, I would assume. Yeah, it's
USGA and RNA conforming, so it's 72 holes. Counts towards whatever the fuck it means. For player rankings. And no, I don't think you get any world ranking points for winning the Olympics. I don't think so, at least. I could be wrong. We'll do that research and find out. You don't need to do it now. We'll find out.
Well, yeah, we'll figure out what the story is. Well, speaking of no live events, we've actually got a clip here. So I want to show one clip first. Emma, if you could toss that clip up. Not the one of the like close-up one, but the one where they're actually on the golf course, because there was quite a funny moment this weekend.
Fairway.
From Jon Rahm. We'll listen in here.
Just needed half a yard for that to be on the green, but now he's going to be faced with this very difficult up and down hole locations on a very small plateau.
So this is Rambo. This is day one. He's only 1 under
Crowd's
par.
getting
Tyrrell
rowdy
Hatton's out there in the lead.
here on the 16th green.
And Andy Ogletree, or sorry, he was 1 under that day, 9 under total. Down 3 strokes to Andy Ogletree. Not loving this crowd, and then his caddy gets involved. That's two back-offs now.
Somebody getting a hairy eyeball there.
Somebody
it's gobbling out louder now when you're yelling our fucking backswing, you dickhead.
We've all thought it.
We all thought it. So the caddy letting himself in on it a little bit, which is great. And then Rambo
he's gonna just try and chop this.
Doesn't hit a great shot, and he's
up there.
Not very happy about it.
Otherwise the ball's gonna come right back to him.
Oh, it doesn't beat the slope.
And somebody tweeted that video with define buyer's remorse. Which is pretty funny because the wheels were coming off for him at that point. He's getting booed, his caddy's getting pissed, and then he ends up turning around and fucking winning LIV Golf UK.
Yeah, I mean, every single time Jon Rahm gets frustrated, that everybody immediately goes to, oh, he hates LIV, he doesn't want to be here. And, you know, that might be slightly the case, but I don't think it matters. I mean, it matters how well he plays, but I don't think he wants to leave LIV just because he's playing poorly. Like, if he's playing poorly, it doesn't matter where you're doing it. So I don't think that's necessarily the case. But yeah, I mean, the fact that he can't get behind the music and shit, like, if you're going to have a problem with, you know, fans on the PGA Tour, you're definitely going to have a problem with LIV fans because it's literally golf but louder. So you got to deal with the but louder part of that. And in all honesty, like, these dudes just need to get off their high horse. It's a little bit of noise. I get it. It's disruptive, but you know, the more, it's just like being a little kid. The more you say you don't like something, the more your friends give you shit for it. Or the more Jon Rahm overreacts to these fans, the more people are going to try to do it to get a rise out of him, especially if they don't like him. So the best thing for him to do is just ignore it and let it happen. You know, these people are out here, they're drunk. And I mean, the UK, they're pretty on brand with loving to just drink their faces off. That's what they do over there. But it seemed like the event was actually a lot of fun. I mean, everybody seemed like they were having a good time, except for Tyrrell Hatton letting a 6-footer slide by to force a playoff. Pretty Rory McIlroy-esque of him to leave it on the low side with a little left to right putt. And that truly is the easiest thing to do with a left to right putt as a right-hander. So I did feel for him, but I don't really think that Tyrrell cares that much, if I'm being dead honest. I did see Jon Rahm's post-game presser, though, or post-round presser, and somebody was like, is he crying? Like,
yeah,
they thought he was shedding a tear.
We actually have that clip. Let's roll that clip of Jon Rahm after he finds out Tyrrell Hatton, his teammate, good friend, missed the putt to allow Rahm to win his first ever LIV event.
Title. And the emotion is obvious.
Yeah, he feels bad for his buddy. And thrilled to get that monkey off of his back at long, long last. Means the world to him. We talked about it in the car back to the hotel yesterday evening.
Yeah, so I love that quote where the guy was like, feels bad for his teammate. No, he fucking doesn't. Not in that situation. And that's where like LIV kind of brings in an interesting, different perspective and whatever it is on the round of golf, because you can win as a team and that's just as big of a payout, or it's a massive payout and a massive deal on that tour specifically. But Jon Rahm definitely wasn't sad about winning his first LIV event, and definitely wasn't sad about Tyrrell Hatton missing that putt. He was sad. He was emotionally happy because he said it's been a tough year for him, tough year for his family, in which, you know, it's kind of put on himself for sure. But going back to your point of, you know, him dealing with the fans, it's kind of ironic because going to LIV, you're making more money and you're crying more, or you're worried more about the fans. But if you're in a bad place, you have less tournaments to play and less people are watching. So it might not be quite as bad if you're actually playing bad on the LIV Tour versus if you're playing bad in a PGA Tour event or a PGA Tour stretch where in reality, most of the world's still watching.
Yeah, I mean, you actually kind of raise a good point too, though, about there being less events, because I'm sure, when you're playing bad golf as a good golfer or whatever, what you want to do is go play in another event as soon as possible and try to get that taste out of your mouth and turn it around. So if Rahm has a bad finish, which he has had this season, or struggle with the injury, whatever, he's got to wait, 2-3 weeks to a month to get back out on the course. So I actually think that might be tougher to come back from because he's not playing competitive golf as often. So it's probably harder to get in a groove, if I'm being honest. But yeah, I don't think, like, who knows who told him to cry, but I don't think he was legitimately crying. Like, trust tree here, we're in the trust tree. Do you think he actually shed a tear over it, that win?
Yeah, I do. I actually do. I don't think that it's an inside job to get him to cry after he wins an event. Like, I think you're going full tinfoil hat mode.
You don't
thinking that.
You don't think? I think Greg Norman had a nose tweezer and fucking snuck up there, ripped a few nose hairs out of his nose right before they panned the camera over to him, just to get a tear or two to fall down his face, because I don't think he was crying about fucking living, winning UK. I think that was a little fake.
Okay, well, that's fair, but LIV's next event is at the Greenbrier, August 16th through 18th, so coming up in a couple weeks. And we'll see some LIV players coming up in the Olympics this week, so that'll be interesting. They had to play an event the week before. A lot of most PGA Tour guys are already at, they're across the pond already, but they're already at LIV Golf National doing a little practice round action. So we'll be talking about the Olympics all of Wednesday. I want to give one more quick shout out, since it is Winner's Circle Monday, to KJ Choi. 54-year-old KJ Choi won the Open Championship. Impressive. He's had an impressive overall career, and I'm such an idiot that I read an article about KJ Choi winning this event, and I was like, for some reason, that name stands out to me as being on the senior tour back in 2010 when we watched the U.S. Senior Open. But it turns out he is only 54 years old, so that was not a possibility. And I think I was thinking of that because Tom Lehman ended up winning the U.S. Senior Open when we were there at Colorado Golf Club, but second place was the South African dude. And Fred, and he won it in a playoff. So I think I was getting those guys confused. KJ Choi, South African, makes a lot of sense. But so KJ Choi shot 4 under on the back nine at Carnoustie. He won over two shots over Richard Green, and he actually won a full Korean Tour event this year as well. So he's won his first senior major and a Korean Tour event at the age of 54. And KJ Choi, I think, was one of the original visor guys, and he's still got just that thick hair. It's a little more gray now. But KJ Choi was like one of the original. Was he a Cobra visor guy, or am I thinking Hideki Matsuyama here? Am I confusing the two? No, Hideki's always the Strixon hat.
Yeah, I don't know who you're thinking of, but it was never a Cobra tour visor. Are you thinking of Jesper Parnevik? Are
you sure it wasn't KJ Choi?
KJ Choi's played Mira for as long as I can remember. He's got his own signature clubs made for him by Mira, which I actually played the same model for a while, and those things are like pure as all fucking get out. Those are like my favorite clubs I've ever had. What I will say about KJ Choi is I'm actually shocked he's only 54, because I feel like he looked like he does now when he was 30. So now he used to look old. Now he looks young, but I'm just shocked that he looks the exact same. And I've been watching him play golf now for the better part of 2 decades, and he looks almost the exact same. And for those of you who don't know who KJ Choi is, but you may have seen the movie, and now I'm forgetting what the movie's called. Do you remember that movie? The Read It, Roll It, Hole It movie?
No, I don't. I watched a good golf movie on Netflix recently, but it wasn't that one. Kind of the same scenario.
You remember the movie with KJ Choi?
No.
Well, hold for 1 second. 7 Days to Utopia. 7 Days in Utopia. You never saw that?
It's been a while. I'm not really big on the memory scenario, but maybe I'll have to go watch it. I'm always down for a good golf movie.
It is actually a very good movie, and they're playing in the Texas Open. I'm not trying to bury the lead here, but this dude is basically battling it out with KJ Choi. So,
so he's the villain. KJ Choi is the villain,
and he kind of has that look to him, like he's got a very serious, like stern look on his face, like he looks like he just wants to bury you. So I would say he's one of the more like intimidating looking dudes out there. Like it just looks like he could be like a dictator. Like he could fucking rule. He's like an evil genius. Like it looks like he could rule the world.
Yeah, KJ Choi's last win on the PGA Tour was in 2011. He won the Players in 2011.
God, that was 13 years ago. But he was a great player in his own right. I think he played in 500 plus PGA Tour events. So, he definitely was around for a while. I think he was the oldest player to win on the Korean Tour this year at 54, which is pretty cool. But I want to say, I was looking him up earlier, I want to say he's made over $50 million in his PGA Tour career, which, I mean, playing back then when he did, that's like he's made $32 million in his PGA Tour career. So still though, I mean, he played in 498 PGA Tour events, made 337 cuts, had 8 wins and 68 top 10s. So very, very formidable career. I want to say, if I'm not mistaken, he's like one of the first Korean dudes out on the PGA Tour back when he started out. So kind of a trailblazer, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, and he turned pro in 1994. So he's been playing professional golf longer than you've been alive. And he's winning an Open Championship across the pond.
Yeah, that is insane. One other note from the Open Championship, I sent the video over. I don't know if we've got the clip or not. I'm not too worried about it. But did you see those like little weasels?
Yes, like moving at like 70 miles an hour.
Yeah, they're like mongoose, or they couldn't be mongoose, but I wish we had those over here in America because they look like hot dogs with legs. They look like corgi, but even thinner. The only way for me to put it, do you know what they look like is a fucking ferret.
That's what I thought they were, was ferrets.
They might be wild ferrets. Do you remember how gross those things were growing up? Like, you always had that one buddy that had a ferret and the whole thing just stunk up their whole fucking house. You're like, why do you have this fucking ugly, like, and they're all like wire haired and like hard, like their bodies are just so weird to me. Like if we did top 5 least favorite like house animals, I think ferret would be my number 1. I fucking can't stand those things. But the ones on the golf course at Carnoustie were actually like kind of fluffy and cute looking, and they were fucking just motoring all over that place. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, those things were moving quick, and it was like, how am I supposed to chip with this going on? And I just saw the caption, and I thought they were going to be fornicating, but it turns out they were just running. Could
you imagine those things fornicating? Like, that's like 2 limousines getting on top of each other. They're just so long. They're fucking, these things are just like, they almost look like fucking puppets because you feel like you could just put one on your hand, and I don't know where I'm going with this, but they look like sock puppets. That's how long they are.
Yeah, that's 100%. Well, one last note about KJ Choi. His nicknames are Tank and Hawkeye. So those are pretty gangster fucking nicknames.
Yeah, Tank. I mean, I don't see him as a tank. My nickname was fucking Tank.
He's 5'8", 185, so.
Okay, he's stout. Oh, speaking of which, I didn't... That's about what I am, fucking, if you throw another 50 pounds on there. But
He's
Johnny
a mini
Vegas,
tank. You're a giant. You're an actual tank.
yeah, exactly. Like if KJ Choi was a sumo wrestler, I would be his size. But did you? I was looking at Johnny Vegas's stats. Guess how big he is?
I'm gonna say 6'4", 230.
Did you look it up, you fucker?
No, that's a complete yes.
I think he's like 6'4", 240.
Okay,
So,
that's what I was gonna say
yeah.
first, and then I dumbed it down a little bit.
The dude is basically a linebacker. It just blows my mind, and I think I don't have it in front of me, but I think it's so cool that Johnny Vegas got into golf, because being from Venezuela, golf is not a very prominent sport, and I'm sure he was pushed to get into baseball. If he was a good athlete, so just for him to get into golf and then get where he's at now is super cool to think about. So,
well, while we're talking about that, and we're back on, so I'll sum this tweet up, but this is from PGA Tour Sean Martin. His incredible route to the PGA Tour. He was 17 when he moved to the United States from Venezuela, arriving with just clubs, a bag of clothes, and 10 words of English language in his vocabulary. He won the 2001 Venezuela Junior, which earned him an invitation to the Junior Worlds at Torrey Pines, where he finished 6th. Let's see. Jonathan's father, Carlos, walked him into the office of Houston-based teaching pro Kevin Kirk and said, "I'd like to leave him with you." Oh, look at Emma. She's got it up right there. He lived in the home of Francie Betancourt, a Venezuelan pro who'd moved to Houston. So he was living with, just moved to America, was living with random people. He'd have to ask his teammates for rides to and from the golf course. Didn't have a car, cell phone, or computer. And then finally, an Austin businessman, Dick Kemp, stepped in and became his legal guardian. Jonathan called Kemp his American dad and guardian angel. So the story is just insane, from the amount that Jhonattan Vegas, he got the worst blisters you could ever see on your feet, and the guy never said a darn thing. He was so appreciative of getting shoes, he wasn't going to say a word about them not fitting. So wearing shoes that didn't fit, he overcame all those odds and became a PGA Tour winner, which is a pretty insane story all in all. And I'm glad we got back to that tweet, just because that's the stuff you get to see on the PGA Tour, guys winning that came from literally nothing. And he had just his golf clubs and a bag of clothes, and now he's a PGA Tour winner, won $1.5 million this past weekend and got exempt to a bunch of other events. So we'll be seeing that name around the PGA Tour a lot more the next couple of years. We're going to wrap this podcast up with a edition of Mulligan of the Week. It's our favorite thing to do on Mondays. I've got quite a few Mulligans of the week that I've been writing down, so I'm going to have to look through these, but I will say this past week, I have a few Mulligans of the week that involved me not being able to control my bodily functions, so we won't get too deep into those, but a couple weeks ago, I did go into a 7-Eleven on 7-Eleven, which wasn't a great idea, just people everywhere. All I wanted to do is get some gas, and then I've got people running in and out of the 7-Eleven, just getting a million Slurpees. Not my best moment, and I definitely will be checking the date and or getting a free Slurpee next time I do that. But it was a complete disaster. I was like, why is this 7-Eleven so busy? And then why is there a sign on the door that says, please don't just take, show cashier? And I was like, is it free day? Like, you just taking whatever from the fucking 7-Eleven? And then I realized when I got out and looked at my receipt that it was 7-Eleven. So I'm not going to do that, make that mistake again.
I think gas stations need to do like a free nicotine day. I think that would get the people through the doors. But yeah, that is a big mistake. I've heard stories about like people who like started working at 7-Eleven on the day of 7-Eleven, and they said it was just the biggest nightmare they've ever been through. My Mulligan of the week, and it's kind of a summer long thing, but it's just not getting sun on my forehead. So as you can see now, my forehead is a little bit red because we have a wedding coming up next weekend. Our good buddy, Logan Lenz, is getting married next weekend, and we are both groomsmen. And this is one of the few events, like, I mean, if you watch us on the podcast, if you see us in real life, there is very few and far between a time where we do not have a hat on. Probably partially because both of our hairlines completely fucking suck. So that's part of it. But I generally wear a hat very often. Do you remember what Sean Fisher used to say when he'd take his hat off?
Yes, I do. And that's about what it is for me. I try not to take my hat off ever. I'm already getting some fucking some pre-anxiety about having to not wear a hat for this wedding.
I know, that's me too. So yesterday I was at the beach trying to get some sun on my forehead, and now I've got like a little bit of a forehead sunburn, and then like I've got this bald spot on the back of my head, which I think is also cooked as well, because I'm not putting sunscreen on the back of my head because it's not that bald. I can't bring myself to make that move. So but just the fact that like you don't really have that bad of a face tan because you are not really outside that often anymore. But I'm still teaching, so I still have the fucking rosy cheeks, the red face, and then I'm going to look like Neapolitan ice cream when I get up to stand up for that wedding, like just the white ass Stuart Sink type of forehead. So now I'm just trying to jam in a little sun time on my forehead so I don't get up there looking like a complete idiot at Logan's wedding.
Yeah, you can go tanning and do like the little mirror, put the little mirror right here so it just hammers the top of your head.
Well, and it's so hard. Like I think I have the sunglass line because I can't lay on the beach and just completely raw dog, like no hat, no sunglasses.
That is actually a psycho move. If you just lay on the beach and you just have your eyes closed the whole time, no sunglasses. Although you probably need to mix in like 10 minutes of that, as crazy as it is.
No, I tried to, but it's so fucking hard. And I legitimately think you can sunburn like your eyelids and your eyeballs. And I don't want to deal with that shit.
That's actually the worst sunburn pain I ever feel is when I get my eyes between the mix of like being at a pool, putting sunscreen on them, and then like the sun, like the little crevices of my eyes hurt. And that's not fun. I do not like that.
No, like your crow's feet on the side of your face.
Yeah, exactly. That shit gets sunburned and then it's hot and it's sticky and not for me.
No, I actively wear as much sunscreen on my face as possible. I'm not trying to look like an old fucking washed up leather bag.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we will be back Wednesday, 8:45 a.m. Mountain Time, 10:45 Eastern with that's our new Wednesday time. Early, get up early. Early bird gets the worm. We'll be doing our Olympic preview. We'll talk about all the players who are going to be playing, some interesting stories about those players. By that time, we'll have pairings. We'll have all the good stuff. And then we'll be back Friday with y'all. Little halfway home at the Olympics with our buddy Greg, who's going to be out in France. Hopefully get him a little tuned up, have some good stories from the first couple of days out there at LIV Golf National. But that's it for us for now. We'll talk to you guys on Wednesday. Peace.
We all silly like the mayor.